Welcome to Language Unlocked, the podcast that helps you find new and exciting ways to master a new language. I'm your host, Clara, and today we're diving into a topic that I know many of you, especially our wonderful beginners, have been asking about. How can you learn English effectively right from the start without feeling overwhelmed or like you're stuck in a textbook? To help us navigate this, I'm thrilled to welcome back our brilliant language learning expert, Leo.
Thanks, Clara. It's always a pleasure to be here. And this topic is truly close to my heart because I believe it's one of the most effective and, dare I say, most enjoyable ways for A1 beginners to really kickstart their English journey.
Absolutely, Leo. Today, our focus is all about learning English through daily activities, specifically tailored for those at the A1 beginner level. Now, for anyone who might not be familiar, could you quickly explain what A1 beginner really means in terms of language learning?
Of course. A1, according to the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR, is the very first level. It means you can understand and use very basic everyday expressions and phrases. Introduce yourself and others. Ask and answer simple questions about personal details like where you live, people you know, and things you have. It's about being able to interact in a simple way, provided the other person speaks slowly and clearly.
So, it's the foundational building blocks. And that's exactly why learning through daily activities is so perfect for this stage, isn't it? It feels much more natural than just memorizing lists.
Precisely, Clara. Imagine trying to learn to ride a bicycle just by reading a manual. You'd read about pedals and handlebars, but you wouldn't actually learn until you got on the bike and started pedaling. Learning English, especially at A1, is very similar. Daily activities provide that getting on the bike experience. You're immersing yourself in the language in a practical context that's relevant to your life, which makes the vocabulary and phrases stick so much better. It turns passive living into active learning.
I love that analogy, turning passive living into active learning. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are some specific daily activities an A1 beginner can start with right from the moment they wake up?
Fantastic question. Let's start with the morning routine. When your alarm goes off, instead of just hitting snooze, try saying to yourself, I wake up. As you stretch, I stretch. When you get out of bed, I get out of bed. Walk to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom. Brush your teeth, I brush my teeth. You can even describe the items. This is my toothbrush, it is blue. Or this is my toothpaste.
That sounds so simple, yet powerful. It's like narrating your own life in English.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. When you make breakfast, say, I make breakfast. If you're having coffee, I drink coffee. Or, this is my coffee cup. You can name the food items. This is bread. This is butter. As you get dressed, I put on my shirt. I put on my pants. You're essentially creating a running commentary of your day, using the simplest English phrases possible. The beauty is, you already know what you're doing, so the context is always clear, even if the English words are new.
That's brilliant for building vocabulary in a truly functional way. What about activities outside the home? Or things like chores?
Great point. Chores are excellent for A1 learners. When you wash dishes, you can say, I wash dishes. This is a plate. This is a fork. If you're cleaning, I clean the table. If you're doing laundry, I do laundry. Again, narrate your actions. For activities outside, like your commute, if you take the bus, I take the bus. As you look out the window, I see a car, I see a tree, I see a building. If you walk to a shop, I walk to the shop. You're constantly linking the words English words to the real-world objects and actions.
I can see how this builds a really strong, practical vocabulary. It's not just lists of words, it's words in context, words that you genuinely need and use every single day.
Yes, and the repetition is key. You brush your teeth every day, right? So, repeating I brush my teeth daily solidifies that phrase and vocabulary incredibly quickly. Another fantastic technique is labeling. Get some sticky notes and write the English names for common objects around your house. Door, window, chair, table, refrigerator. Every time you see that object, say the word aloud. This visual reinforcement is incredibly effective for A1 learners.
Oh, I love the sticky note idea. It makes your home a mini English classroom without even realizing it. What about more passive ways to incorporate English into daily life?
Absolutely. For A1, even passive exposure is beneficial. While you're doing chores or commuting, try listening to very simple English songs or even podcasts specifically designed for beginners, like this one. You might not understand every word, but your ear starts to get used to the sounds, the rhythm, and the intonation of English. Simple children's stories or cartoons in English can also be incredibly helpful because the language is very basic and the visuals provide context.
That's a great point about getting your ear attuned. And what about keeping a simple journal? Is that too advanced for A1?
Not at all, Clara, if kept very simple. Instead of complex sentences, an A1 journal could be just a few bullet points at the end of the day. Today, I wake up at 7. I drink coffee. I walk to the park. I see a dog. I eat dinner. It helps you recall the day's actions and practice writing those basic phrases. It reinforces everything you've been doing orally throughout the day.
So it sounds like the main ingredients for success here are consistency, simplicity, and making it an integral part of your life, rather than a separate, daunting task.
Spot on. Consistency is king for A1. 10 minutes every day, integrated into your routine, is far more effective than an hour once a week. Also, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are how we learn. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress and building confidence. Celebrate those small victories, like successfully describing your breakfast or naming 5 objects in your room in English.
I think that's such an important message for beginners. It can be really intimidating to feel like you have to be perfect, but starting with these simple daily actions makes it feel so much more achievable.
It truly does. And remember, every word you learn, every phrase you narrate, every label you read is building that foundation. You're not just learning English. You're building a new habit, a new way of interacting with the world around you in a different language.
Leo, this has been incredibly insightful. For our A1 listeners tuning in today, what's the one key takeaway you'd want them to remember from our conversation?
My biggest message would be this: your everyday life is your best English classroom. Start small. Integrate English into the simple, consistent activities you already do. And don't underestimate the power of those little moments. Every "I wake up" or "this is my mug" builds towards fluency.
And for me, it's that learning doesn't have to be a chore. It can be fun, practical, and woven into the very fabric of your day. Just by narrating your morning routine or labeling objects, you're making incredible progress. It's about making English a natural extension of who you are and what you do.
Perfectly put, Clara. It's about making it feel less like studying and more like living.
Exactly. So to all our listeners out there, start today. Pick just one daily activity and try narrating it in simple English. You might be surprised how quickly you start building confidence. A huge thank you to Leo for sharing all these fantastic strategies with us.
My pleasure, Clara. Keep learning, everyone.
And thank you for joining us on Language Unlocked. We'll be back next time with more tips and tricks for your language learning journey. Until then, happy learning.